Hi, today I'm going to show you how to do these waterfall nails. We're going to hand paint them. Now I think typically they're done with regular polish, and you can do that if you like. I want it to kind of remind me of maybe the waterfall in Hawaii. So I kind of used watercolor, water type colors, and also I wanted to use sheer polish. So that's what I did. Now I used my own homemade ones, handmade ones, but you can get them from, I believe OPI has sheer, I think Bundle Monster possibly. I know there's some other brands too that make them also. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to use a striper brush, and I will put all of what I use in the information box. This one happens to be, and you could use any striper brush. This one's just by Winning Nails number 310, a fine striper brush. If you can see it. Anyway, so I'm going to start with a color that I made that I call Pool, and it's kind of a sea foam. And I know it's going to be really hard for you to see these colors, and I'm sorry. You can use any kind of blues that you want to. So I'm just going to. Now, if you're really good and you don't care how thin your lines are, you could maybe use the brush that comes, with your sheer polish, but I'm going to use the striper brush, and I'm just going to kind of start, like up where your cuticle would be, and make sure you get enough on there so that, and depending on how much you have on your brush and how thick your stripe's going to be, but start from the top and just kind of do a little wisp down. And I just do it in a few places. So I'll just kind of whoosh it down, do some more. And I do about 3 or 4 of them usually. Well, this nail is huge, but so they would be closer together on, a nail that wasn't as wide as this. So I'm going to go ahead and get a different color. So I think the most time-consuming part of this is just cleaning my brush off when I'm changing colors. So I'm using acetone and just, wiping it off. And so next I'm going to go with a kind of a forest green color is what I made this one. So whatever you could get close to that in a sheer polish. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to use my striper brush for each one. And I get a fair amount on here because I want it, to show up, especially because it's sheer. So I'm going to go ahead and, okay, that one's a little bit too big of a clump. Start from the top and just sort of squish it down. Start at the top. And just kind of bring a line down, and this is kind of a little blob right there. It's going down here, and I'm going to start with that and kind of pull it this way. And as you pull it down, you start with more polish. Most polish comes up from the top, and as you pull it down, it tapers down and it gets, sheerer looking, more like water coming off a waterfall, which is the idea, right? And then so I'm going to go ahead and wipe this off again, wipe my brush off again, and this time I'm going to use what I call a citrus, and so it would be kind of a moss green, if you can find like a moss or lime green, depending on what color you really like, but that's what I'm doing with this one. I just wanted to add, some more colors, and you just kind of put them, in between the colors that you already have going. Just kind of, I'm going to put it like in between the lines and just kind of wisp it down like that. Get a little bit more color. So you can see how much I've got on the brush, I hope. Kind of wisp it down. Okay, a little bit more there. And if you, and if you don't think it's got enough color or whatever, you could go over it. You could go over it again to give it a little bit more, like that one. So that's what I've got going so far. Some greens and blues and kind of a moss green color. So I'm going to go ahead and clean off my brush again. Just kind of swipe it. And then next, since I've got all these kind of softer colors, you know, in here, I'm going to give it a contrasting color. And you could do multicolors, you could do all kinds of, you know, different color combinations if you wanted to. Now this one, I call it indigo, but I would call it, but most people would probably call it like a cobalt blue, if you can see kind of the color of it. So that's what I'm going to use to give us some contrast. And I'm just going to put my brush in here, my strapper brush, and get, you know, a fair amount on there. And then this one, I'm going to go right kind of down here and kind of wisp it. But this is, I love this one because it just gives it some beautiful, you know, kind of little contrast. So it shows up better. Oops, I think I got a little bit too much on my brush. Okay, so I'm going to start at the top and just kind of wisp it down. Kind of wisp it down. It's not exact science, but if you can, you know, keep your hand as steady as possible, I think that's probably good. And if, you know, if you don't like it, if you get a little spot or something down here, you can clean it up with your cleanup brush. Now, I guess I forgot to tell you that I started with the base color on here. It's the same kind of thing I use for if I'm going like a nude, a blush nudish look, or if I'm going to do a French manicure, I use this type of color a lot. It's kind of a nude with a little bit of blush pink to it, just a little bit. Let me go ahead and, can you see that still? Clean off my brush and get this blue off of here because it's pretty. There's a lot of color pigment in this blue on here. So I'm going to get it off my brush. Okay, and then, so next I just used a hollow. Now this one's just from CoverGirl. But it's a hollow and it's like, you know, glitter in sheer, in a clear polish. I want it to be, you know, sheerish. So I didn't want it to be too heavy, but it has like little tiny silver glitters in it, and then it has some of the bigger kind of octangular shaped glitters, and so it has that hollow, you know, rainbowy opal look, and it just gives it some, you know, pretty lights and colors or whatever. Before I forget, I wanted to tell you that, so I did use a gel polish, and this is what I used. It's one I've been trying out, and so far I think I pretty much like it. But anyway, it's the name of it. I will put in the information box. It says it's Pink Whisper, and this is what I use for my base for us to do the waterfall on. I went ahead and did it just to save some time. So we're just, now, if you want, you could probably just, you know, swipe down with this, depending on how much glitter you want. If you want to have it a finer look, you know, and to be able to kind of wisp it down, then you might want to use the striper brush for this too. There's a little glob right there. So I'm just going to kind of go wherever I want to, you know, kind of in between, and just kind of add. I don't know if you can see it yet. I'm going to get a little bit more on my brush. There we go. So you probably really could just use your regular, the polish brush that comes with it. But I don't want it to cover the whole thing. I just want it to be able to, you know, kind of where I want it. Just kind of wisp it down a little bit. And just kind of wisp it down a little bit. Like that. A little bit more on that side there. Okay. That's it on our waterfall design. Now I will let this dry for a minute and put a top coat on it. And you could put, you could do a matte. I don't know if you'd want to or not, if you want to be able to see all the shimmer, but you could do any top coat, you know, whatever your favorite top coat is on. You could even do a gel top coat. at this point. I'm not going to, and I didn't on these. I love that glitter. It's so pretty, kind of hollow, and it kind of makes it, you know, glisten like if it were a waterfall. So anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and you can put Bundle Monster over it if you want to not worry about it smudging. Do smudge-free Bundle Monster over it. And you could also do then Out the Door. If you're good at just kind of floating it over, then you probably would be okay just putting your top coat over it. But if you're worried about, you know, messing it up, I would definitely use the Bundle Monster. Anyway, so that's it. And so please like and subscribe. That's our waterfall nail. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of the week. Bye-bye.